I cussed at a lady at the park. So I'm 14 and I was babysitting my little sister Kenna, who just turned 4. Her dad got her this bright pink bike with training wheels, and she was super pumped to try it out at Riverside Park. It's like this tiny neighborhood park with a playground and some bike paths where all the local families hang out. We got there around 3 p.m., and there was already this mom there with her 3 kids, 2 boys who looked maybe 7 and 9, and a girl around my sister's age. The mom was sitting on one of those metal picnic benches, scrolling on her phone while her kids ran wild. I made eye contact with her when we walked up and gave her a friendly wave because that's what my mom taught me to do. Kenna was so excited she kept saying, "I'm gonna be fast like Daddy," over and over. But after about 15 minutes on the bike, she got scared and wanted to go on the swings instead. She parked her bike right next to the swing set and ran over. I was pushing her when my Uncle Trevor drove by in his work truck. He lives like 2 blocks away and always stops to chat when he sees us. I turned around to wave at him through his window, and when I looked back, Kenna was crying and pointing at her bike. The 2 boys had grabbed it and were taking turns riding it around the path. The little girl was standing next to them, cheering them on. I walked over and said, "Hey guys, can you please give the bike back? My sister wants to use it now." But they completely ignored me and kept riding. The older boy even did this little wheelie thing that made Kenna cry harder. So I went up to their mom and said, "Excuse me, could you please ask your sons to give my sister's bike back? She'd like to ride it now." The woman barely looked up from her phone and said, "My kids are having fun and yours isn't using it, so I don't see the problem." I felt my face get hot, but I stayed calm and said, "I understand they're having fun, but it's her bike and your kids brought their own bikes, so could they please use those instead?" That's when this lady completely lost it. She stood up and started going off about how I had no business telling her how to parent when I was clearly too young to be getting girls pregnant. She kept saying my sister was obviously my daughter, and that I was some teenage dad who had no right to lecture anyone. I was so confused and angry I could barely think straight. My sister was still crying by the swings, and this woman was calling me a teen dad in front of everyone at the park. A few other parents had stopped what they were doing to stare at us. I snapped and said, "Lady, she's my sister, and I think I have the right to ask nicely when you're being a complete bitch about it. So I'm gonna ask one more time, are you gonna tell your little rats to get off my sister's bike or not?" Her face went bright red, and she started yelling about how dare I curse at her and call her children rats. She gathered up her kids and stormed off to their minivan while shouting something about calling my parents. The boys finally dropped Kenna's bike in the grass and ran after their mom. When we got home, I told my mom, thinking she'd laugh about this crazy lady at the park, but instead she freaked out and said I was incredibly rude and disrespectful. She went on this long lecture about how I need to learn to talk to adults properly, and that cursing at someone's mom was completely unacceptable no matter what they said to me. She made me write an apology letter even though we had no idea who the woman was or where she lived. My mom said the principal mattered more than whether she'd actually see it. I had to write about how I should have walked away or found another adult to help instead of losing my temper.